Give me some brew and I might just chill. But I'm the type that like to light another joint like Cypress Hill. I still do these spin loogies when I puff on it. I got some bucks on it, but it ain't enough. Hi. I see one person's come in. I'm just playing a little music just to wait a little bit. Yeah, it's been a while since I've live streamed. I don't know if I've lost. Hi, Jeff. I don't know if I've lost my audience by being in school. I was doing. I just got done with my finals. Today is December 10th, 2021, and I almost didn't want to do a broadcast today. I'm a little bit burnt out, but I thought there's a lot going on. And this is basically part one probably on this series because there's so much to talk about on the topic. I was at 7-Eleven the other day and this guy was hitting on me. Okay, yeah, it happens sometimes. And he was like in front of me. He goes, I got 5. And I go, and he was singing this song. And I said, well, what do you do for a living? And he goes, I'm independently wealthy. And then he goes up to pay at the counter and he uses his CalFresh card. I go like, yeah, you're independently wealthy like me, right? Okay. Hi, Jeff. I see somebody was on there for a minute and then they took off. All right. I guess maybe I should start to get to the point. Hold on, though. I'm going to grab this old cup of 7-Eleven coffee that I still have. Feast on my wonderful background. All right. It's a small crowd. I realize I have not been online in a while. And it's a totally impromptu show. But I'm going to go ahead and continue anyways because I figured that this will probably get viewed later on. All right. First of all, I guess maybe I should turn the TV down. I don't know if that's interrupting or not. One more sunrise, one more empty sky. Okay. Sorry about that. I didn't mean, I should have been a little bit more prepped than that. But look, you guys still stayed here. The two of you that are here stayed. Okay. All right. So let me turn this cheesy song off. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to be showing some, I'm going to mirror for educational purposes. I guess I should put my banner out here. All right. This is I'm going to do fair use. This is a transformative work. We're doing this to educate ourselves. And so there you have it. There's my little banner going on right there. I'm going to show a little bit of the BASIS project. This would be Miles Johnston's most recent interview of Ava Moore Brockbrader. Okay, let me explain a little bit about who she is. I don't know if she's still a host on Revolution Radio or not, but I know that she's a former host of Revolution Radio, which is the network that I was on from 2014 to about 2015 or the end of 2015. No, 2016, I think. Okay. Bill Brockbrader has been featured on Carrie Cassidy's Project Camelot back in 2012. He claims to be a Navy SEAL, and he is a whistleblower about Project Looking Glass. Now, that particular video can still be found online, and I most likely will be I most likely will be going over that video again. I'm not really familiar with the video per se. All right, the reason why I'm bringing all of this up to our attention is because Bill Brockbrader has been arrested for being a child predator, for molesting a young, I can't even say a woman. She's a child. She was 11 years old. And she was the sister of his ex-wife. And she was molested while she was babysitting with him. And this had happened over several years. He was arrested. He was convicted of the crime. And he is required, because we have laws here in the United States, that if you are a sex offender, you are required to register whenever you move. Like, people need to publicly know that you have been convicted of a sex crime, and it's part of protecting the community. These laws came into place after a man named John Walsh, who has a television show. Hi, Biggie 221. And also, Jeff Reed, I'm going to bring up what you say here in a moment. There's a television show, probably, I don't know who in other parts of the world have this show, because some of our American television is syndicated, like in the UK. But it's called America's Most Wanted. And the American TV host of that is a criminal investigator named John Walsh, who lost his child, who was abducted and murdered. And so then also the Adam Walsh Amendment has come into place in the United States. Bill Brockbrader was featured on his new show called In Pursuit back in September. He is an FBI fugitive for not registering as a sex offender, and nobody knows exactly where he is. However, just recently, Eva Moore, who is his wife, has recently appeared on Miles Johnston's show. Now, one of the things that I want to point out to you guys is towards the end of the video, and I'm going to show bits and pieces of it just to give you a flavor of what's going on, right? Because we need to document this. But towards the end of the video, around the 24 mark and on, maybe a little bit before that, 124 mark, 121, somewhere in there, she starts to talk about how she doesn't mention the TV show. She doesn't mention that her husband was featured on In Pursuit, and that there's an active case, there's an active pursuit of trying to find where he is at. She doesn't talk about that. Basically, what she says is that her husband, Bill Brockbrader, is working undercover to bust John Walsh, because John Walsh decapitated his own son in a satanic ritual, and that her husband was doing something about the Adam Walsh Amendment to expose this information. She also mentions working with a woman named Penny Shepard. All right, and I'm going to make mention of her because she's made mention on Miles Johnston. Now, I have interacted with Penny Shepard myself, and to be honest with you, it was uncomfortable, and I'm just going to leave it at that. All right, I am. I'm just, that's my feeling about it. I do not trust Penny Shepard to be a legitimate source of any type of investigation. I just don't see it. Now, that is an opinion that I'm making, but it's an opinion based on my own interaction of her trying to work with me before. Okay. She said some things before in the past that I have found to be, I didn't agree with. I thought they were false. All right. So now the thing that I find interesting about this particular video specifically, that I'd like to point out is one, In the video, Miles makes reference that Ava Moore is located in California. And then at the same time, Ava Moore says that she could not get legal residence in the United States for some particular reason. So she can't really, I don't know if she's really supposed to be in the United States if she was doing this video in the United States. But she is a Canadian resident. All right. Again, let me reiterate what bothers me the most about her testimony about John Walsh is that she does not talk about her husband being featured on the show, but rather goes from the point of view of mentioning his name, mentioning what he supposedly did, which, you know, could legitimately be considered slander if you cannot prove something like that. I found that in this video, Ava Moore made a lot of claims about a lot of things, like a lot of people in this media do, without ever really sourcing where they got the information at. We're just supposed to go ahead and believe what they said. And I'm going to say this just because I just kind of want to get this off. I'm really repulsed right now. You know, so I'm trying to be unbiased in the material that I'm looking at. Okay. But what repulses me the most about this is that people like Carrie Cassidy with Project Camelot, not only is she interviewing Captain Mark Richards, who is sitting in prison for masterminding the murder of Richard Baldwin, right? Who you know, created like almost like a Dungeon and Dragons kind of, you know, Marin County, Camelot takeover of Marin County, borderline on, okay, right? Not only has she turned that guy into a secret Captain Mark Richards secret space program, but she's turned this other guy who was never a Navy SEAL, all right? And I can prove that. I can show you evidence to prove that he was never a Navy SEAL, because there's another person on YouTube named Dawn Shipley who has a channel, and I did feature it a little bit before, that also was contacted by In Pursuit and John Walsh to research about Bill Brockbrader. He proves this guy's a retired Navy SEAL. He shows his discharge from the Navy, dishonorable discharge for what he did, and he also shows that he was never a Navy SEAL and was never in on Team 9, because Team 9 doesn't really exist. Hey, I don't know how I like, hey Solo, good to see you here. And Mark Solo, hey Terry, just got over with COVID. Thanks for prayers. Oh, I'm so glad that that you're better from COVID. Okay, so and then I also have Jeff Reed says he was also convicted and sent to prison for the crime. Yes, Bill Brockbrader was convicted and sent to prison for the crime. So anyway, I'm a little bit off today, so I don't know how great I am explaining this, but let's look at the Basis Project footage, okay, and discuss it. Let's discuss this, guys.
Welcome, Eva. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Mark.
There are lots of things going on, and there's a new person, somebody called Davis, or I don't know, I can't remember their bloody name, but she's 70 years old, and she was on the same street as James was in Reading, and this is the third this is a third person talking about Reading and all.
Okay, so he's going to go a bit into James Casbolt, all right, and explain that. But I want to get to the point where he talks about his own rape allegations and what's going on with him right now. So I'm going to at least take us to that point in this conversation.
The stuff that went on that James was partly put to jail for. There's a big base in a lot of child stuff happening in Reading, otherwise known as Reading, just outside London. And she seems to know James from a long time ago. Apart from that, I'll just sit quietly.
I don't know if that made any difference. Okay, so how old is James?
Okay, Ava Moore Brockbrader, wife of Bill Brockbrader, also known as Ava Moore, also former host of Revolution Radio for many years.
I don't know. The last information we got was that I can't remember the name of the woman, but it was a woman who seemed to correspond with James quite a lot, and she talks for 15,000 years. She got the last visit with James before he was released into secure custody. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't. That was.
So why is this information relevant right now? And also take a look at where she's at. This is not her home. And at some point, you're going to watch somebody interrupt and ask her to put her mask on. So she's in a public place using some sort of public computer.
2019.
Okay.
And he was about to come. I made an appointment to see him on the Friday, and that was refused. And then this woman was seeing him on the Saturday before he was released. That's a week before. And I was refused, but she then says, well, why isn't Miles being allowed? And then they then allowed me in to see him. And James was saying he was going to he was taking advice from John Irwin. And I told him that John Irwin's been nothing but say a lot of shit about you, but that was the way James was going to be. And he mentioned something about being released into secure accommodation in the Southwest. And that's it. I got some kind of a roundabout message that due to what's her bloody name? I've lost any names. Of Max's handler, Sarah. She'd written some kind of a letter.
Interesting that he calls Sarah Max's handler.
Because he was suddenly pulled out of an open prison and suddenly thrown back into this more secure prison, category B. And my understanding is that he's not allowed to go online anywhere. He's not allowed to talk to anybody in the Basis Project. And he's...
And why do you think that he's not allowed to go online? Well, because he posted nude pictures, intimate pictures of his wife online. That's really what he did time for. As we know it.
Because that's by the orders of the Home Secretary.
Okay.
Now, Tim Reefa.
Let me also reiterate, too, that Haley Meyer is part of the Meyer family from the Meyer's grocery store chain. All right, so I think there's rumors of some sort of maybe even blackmail that he was trying to do on her.
The God, I saw him.
Tim Reefat has done a wee bit of a look into this, and he knows what they do to people like us in jail.
Now listen, what they do to people like us in jail. Now, this is what I want to point out about what they're doing, what people do in this media, right? They're all victims. They're all doing secret space program, special forces, CIA, Interpol, intelligence work, or exposing the dark side of these organizations. And they are the ones who are whistleblowers, and they are the ones who are saving humanity. And the only reason why these guys have any type of sexual predator charges or, rape allegations or women coming forward, like in Simon Park's case, or Captain Mark Richards is in prison because he's a big major whistleblower. That's the whole thing that's going on with Bill Brockbrader too. This is their excuse. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not buying it. All right. This is an easy way to manipulate this community, this audience, into thinking that they're innocent.
But James was going into the black. He was going into the dark. And I think James's mission, because we're being invaded by all this dark matter stuff, dark matter souls, all this stuff coming through the Rothschilds and all the stuff that's taken over the world and how to kill us all and make us into whatever. I think, and this only occurred to me a few days ago, I think he's on mission really in the dark side.
See, he hasn't been banned from the internet because of what he's done. He's in a deep mission on the dark side. Like, they keep spinning the story for us.
Important. And that only came up to me recently. But Duncan Davis, we were going to all have a party here. We're going to have James. We're going to have Grid Keeper Duncan Davis. And I don't know how much you know.
And now Grid Keeper and Duncan Davis, they're all involved with this. I don't know about you guys, but I don't remember them being in the picture when James Casbolt and Max Spears came out on the scene. But now they're all intertwined with special information
about Duncan and how much progress he's made, but he's become a very high initiate and trainee to Tim Refat, and he's been doing stuff.
Duncan from the US?
Duncan Davis.
Not from the US. I don't know that person.
Duncan Davis and Sohail were the trio. You had James Casbolt, Grid Keeper, otherwise known as Duncan Davis, whose lineage goes back to the King of England.
Oh.
Right. Okay. And here's another thing I want to point out about these guys. Everybody's lineage goes back to some sort of royalty or Illuminati bloodline.
He's very tall, got the glasses, bald, unlike me. I've bloody hit myself.
The temptation about this media is everybody's special and we all want to be special and we all want to think that we're just, we're like there's this, like, who's the biggest wizard of us all, really?
Anyway, and the thing is, Tim Refat lives in Brighton. And do you know the background of Tim Refat?
Yeah, I know the background of Tim Refat. And you know what? I think he needs to start wearing socks with his tennis shoes.
Tim Tony Start Refat wrote the detailed books on Russian remote viewing stuff, and he was the apprentice.
Well, I guess when you're doing Russian remote viewing, socks aren't necessary.
Colin Bloy, who is MI6's magic man, and that's a direct lineage back to Aleister Crowley and all that stuff.
See, everybody, they love Aleister Crowley, it seems like. Like here's somebody that most people that talk about Aleister Crowley, for example, Max or whomever, Aleister Crowley's not really a good guy. But at the same time, Miles has some, like this is a big coup that Duncan Davis is, connected to royalty and to Aleister Crowley, like as if this is, all okay. What is it that, what does Miles really feel about these people? One day they're awful and disgusting and evil, and the next moment he's almost like wants to be them.
So MI6 was doing very heavy psychic warfare stuff and took out the Russian Federation and all that. The Soviet Union and all that. Now, Refat was tasked with doing the same to the Chinese, but the Chinese have a different energy grid system and it didn't work. But he's now over effectively talking with the Chinese. Okay? But he's obeying the rules. Now, MI5 tried to kill him millions of times. I think they're trying to bump me off.
Right.
I've had a rape charge leveled at me at the end of July, just after my YouTube channel was
See, here we go with the rape charge.
taken down, and just after my conference, and I'm just having another conference on Saturday, and
Good for you.
it's absolutely packed with speakers. Suddenly, I've got double the speakers. It's absolutely, and anyway,
Excellent. Good to hear.
so the point is that Tim Refat got key rings and certain things from Colin Bloy, this guy Colin Bloy. The Colin Bloy did a big thing in the Love of Light community. There was the fountains of Brighton, and everybody had a meditation.
You mentioned that before.
And that is a key thing, that he's been able to deal with all that. Like Colin Bloy was getting everybody to think about the
So she's saying you mentioned that before where? Like in their own private conversations?
Brighton is where the energy comes into the British Isles, or at least the land mass of Great Britain. And they, the elite, or whoever you want to call them, have been putting windmills in this channel to block this energy. And a lot of the
and there's a pattern that he has, in my opinion, in my assessment, throughout this video. Yeah, she's shutting her eyes because she can't take it anymore. He diverts into all these different areas to go to, in this conversation, and then we will end up at Bill Brockbrader at the end.
Positioning of the windmills are all on energy lines to esoterically fuck our energy field up. And he's done a whole lot of stuff. And I was asked by Duncan to come down and video a number of really key interviews with Tim Refat. And this changed timelines and all that. Now, one of the other guy who works with James and Duncan was a guy called
She acknowledged somebody back then, just now. So somebody's to her, well, I guess it would be her left.
Looks a bit like an Egyptian or a bit Arab. Now, he had a life form in his back, which was like a mini crocodile thing, which is intertwined with his back. And as soon as
now she has to put her mask on. Somebody told her to put her mask on.
This thing went ballistic.
Because she's in a public place.
In his back. Cutting a long story short.
Who wears a mask in their own home in front of the computer? No, you don't. So she's I suspect she's in a public place.
This guy was, so Hale was brought in to Brighton General Hospital. They removed this thing. And that's when Brighton General Hospital, he was taken down deep into the underground secret base there to have the rest of the operation with Delta Force nurses. To have this thing taken out of him. And that they don't care that he even allowed him to bring a phone in. So they don't care that we know that there's a deep underground military base and a hospital. And as he went from the modern hospital down the various lift shafts, the color of the and
let's think about this. Why is she doing this interview in a public place? Like, does she not have a home? I mean, trust me, I can relate to not having a home. But why is she using an office computer or some other location's computer?
Paintwork changed to the old style, like during the war and all that stuff.
Interesting, because that's how Bill said his security clearance was identified with Indigo.
With your mask on, it's very difficult to hear what you say.
Right.
But anyway,
Bill said that Indigo, that's how they used to. Indigo was the security clearance.
So this all fell apart, and lots of things happened, and I recorded a lot of stuff with Tim Refat. And then they started doing their own thing, and Tim Refat's now left the country and he's in Vietnam, and Duncan has been learning a heck of a lot about the complex number of space. Refat has successfully defeated Lucifer and has adopted.
Did you hear what he said? Tim Refat has successfully defeated Lucifer. Okay, let's keep going.
In terms of having he has created hell space especially for all the sons of bitches who are fucking.
And he's created hell space. These guys are all powerful. Tim Refat is more powerful than Lucifer is. Okay, let's keep going.
And
if he's all powerful, Tim Refat, why don't you get yourself some socks? Okay.
We did a whole thing going down Brighton where Duncan and his girlfriend Annie, and they all were good mates with.
He has a girlfriend. Good for him.
And they have been doing a whole lot of stuff. And the most recent stuff is the Grail state, where they created the Grail, but they reversed all the energy fields so that instead of our energy is being taken to the Elohim and stolen from us, it's all being changed.
What is this? It's all being taken to the Elohim. It's okay. So what? We've gone how many minutes? 28 minutes of made up shit. Let's go.
Or fucked off the, switched off the elite, the Masons, the church. Any churches connected with Rome, all cut off, right?
I think this came up yesterday, Miles, is Leo Zagami. So he needs to leave the United States. He's the primary issue of interfering with using his Masonic ties and Vatican I ties. So that's what this is.
Okay, thank you. But how do you have that information? Why should we believe that?
I bumped into a guy from the Church of England here who's doing some deep research, and he's a little man from Northern Ireland.
Deep research. Guys,
he's
this
a former
deep
Catholic
research.
who's joined the church and doing some deep literature and research for them.
Okay.
And we randomly met and whatever, but he came to my local pub, which I can't go to now because of this charge which was leveled at me.
Okay, so now here we go, more about the rape allegation. He cannot go back to his local pub because of the rape charge. So this is not a settled thing yet. This is still going on for him.
Which is a setup with the British military to get me on a charge. And I have been, I was arrested, and I told them what happened. I brought this woman home, to her home in the pouring rain. She was completely out of it. And I left her in the house, but I did not go into the house. So I made sure she got home. She was collapsing. She was completely out of it. But then I realized that she'd been programmed, guy from British Army, to the extent that I just recalled that when I walked straight in, I walked right beside him. I was standing right beside this guy who was busy programming this woman, asking her, "Do you know Miles Johnson?" But he didn't realize I was standing beside him when he said that. Now, cutting a long story short,
okay, so that's his explanation about what happened. I mean, what do you guys feel about that? I mean, do you buy it? Because I don't. Like what? Like he was at a bar, she got drunk. Okay, how many? Theoretically speaking, again, people are innocent until proven guilty, but when a woman gets really drunk and loses their composure at a bar, and then you have somebody who maybe Miles was buying her drinks, so maybe he participated in getting her drunk. I'm just theoretically speaking. Like, where does Miles get to the point that he's going to be the person to take her home, right? Like, how is it that this woman trusts Miles to take her home? And what was it that made him want to protect her? To take her home? Like, she didn't have any other friends at the bar. She was like, like come on. And then she was messed up, and and what a perfect opportunity. A lot of guys love it when a girl's drunk because they're not in control of their decisions as well. They're vulnerable to be taken advantage of. And when they do take advantage of them when they're drunk, there's a shame factor to it. And there's a blank of maybe she blacked out, whatever. But and then look, he drops her off, but then there's somebody there in the house, and then they programmed her. Like if there was somebody in the house, then obviously couldn't they bring that guy on the witness, and that would be his defense. Like, oh yeah, I wasn't even alone with her. When I dropped her off, there was somebody in the house. Like, his story is it sounds like and then again, he's saying, oh, it's the military. I've been set up. I've been set up for this. I really didn't do this, right? That's everybody's excuse in this media, is that they're being set up by the powers that be to put these charges on them. Do you believe it? Do you believe it? Because I got to tell you, I'm not believing it right now. I'm going to be really honest. That's why I'm doing this show, because I am not a believer.
I've heard nothing for almost 4.5 months. And I've been told that I'm being followed and tracked, all sorts of things going on. And
who's telling him this? I'm being told this, I'm being told that. Well, you know what? Why don't you divulge your sources? Can you divulge your sources? I mean, are you protecting them, Miles, like a journalist? Are you doing the shield law? What are you doing here? Or are you just making shit up?
I've been putting stuff on the Irish border, pirate radio and stuff. I know when I'm being followed and all sorts of stuff. But obviously, you know when you're being followed. And then, there was a possible assassination attempt on me about three weeks ago.
Okay, really?
And when I got to this girl's funeral, the funeral of her husband, I got a phone call from somebody, which I won't mention, surprised to hear that I was still alive. So that was Friday. That was Friday 3.5 weeks ago. So anyway, just
question for you.
Moving on.
Do you know who Tim Collins? Do you know who Tim Collins is?
No.
Tied to Iraq.
Yeah.
Well,
I love how they go back and forth. Like, do you know who so and so is? Do you know who so and so is? Is she shape shifting right there? No, I'm kidding. I guess I should maybe look at some of your guys' comments and see what's going on. Jeff said, ha ha ha. No, I don't buy any of it. No, neither do I. Jolly Bridge Burner. I know, right? He's got that vibration that sends us girls all a quiver. Yeah, exactly. He does. Miles, sleazy moves. Yep. Eloquent 88. Miles the White Knight. I don't believe that, but IDK, what to think actually happened. Ugh, don't like those dudes at Mr. Pickles. All right, there's new comments here. Yes, ma'am. Hello, Mr. Pickles. I love that name. Hello, I'm Mr. Pickles. Okay, let's watch some more. Let's just keep going here.
Green Hicks is a Collins, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Aaron Hicks was one of the first, I don't know, like sort of super soldier type person that Carrie interviewed. All right, like she claimed to be a Rothschild and was in all these different kind of programs. It's really kind of an interesting interview. I watched it. I'm familiar with it. So this woman's kind of disappeared on the scene, but she's gonna bring her back into the picture as being one of the ultimate bad guys of the super soldier program.
Yeah. So I think a lot of this is stemming from Erin Green Hicks. And basically when she saw Max the first time, I was there. So she and her bloodline networks of the Rothschilds in the US have been commandeering the West Coast through the Navy and her ties. And I believe Tim Collins, who is British, who was working in Iraq, he's got a large history in Iraq war, was brought in by Aaron Green Hicks under misguided intelligence. And so there's now a reorganization happening because Aaron was directly probably tied to some of the mischievousness that Lorraine Fenton was trying to cover up. So there's people in
Okay,
California.
so she mentions Lorien Fenton covering up. Now, Lorien Fenton was she's put together a lot of the super soldier conventions. She's associated with Revolution Radio, and I believe she was in charge of their marketing for a while. So now she's, referencing Lorien Fenton here.
That tried to use Aaron Green Hicks instead of the network that was laid down by my husband. So this is
so now her husband's Bill Brockbrader. All right, he's the person that's an FBI fugitive, and John Walsh, the show In Pursuit, is searching for his whereabouts. All right, he is on the good side of this equation here.
A port work going on in the west coast of California. And Erin's out.
Is she claiming that he's doing this in California? Like he's on port work in California. So are they is she claiming that they're in California right now? Is she with him? Is she with the fugitive?
Blown it horribly, which is no surprise. But you have to allow for people to show their cards and let them screw things up horribly. And then
like you.
The fallout of everyone they lied to.
That's right. Like you are doing, maybe, right? Like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she seemed to be very brave when she made those interviews with me and Kerry about, the fake Jews and all that, the Khazarian or Ashkenazi Jews.
Right. And I'm not putting her information down. You cannot substitute somebody who is not the right person into a role and thinking it's going to work.
Yes.
If they're not the right person.
And,
you can try, but it won't work.
Really? Whose work is really original here in the picture? Whose work's original? Whose work is original?
Where does this bring us?
Yeah, where does it bring us?
And you're smiling.
Well, this is it, is that we are at a place now where it's a wheat and chaff type situation, and organic wheat and chaff, not dogma wheat and chaff.
Oh, really?
About people who have legitimately put their hearts, souls, minds, everything on the line.
Like your husband who's a fugitive.
Whether they had the check mark of a religious institute or not is irrelevant, because really it's about God, who is a being.
You're the real God.
That is superior than any building or
you're working for the real God.
So that's
okay.
We're coming through the dogma. We're coming
you
through
are
to the people that are
wonderful,
hauling ass and doing good work.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Well, I sense this. This is now the time, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're doing such wonderful work in the world.
And it's tied into Ireland. It's tied into Princess Scotta. It's tied into the Rh negative bloodlines.
Oh, here we go with the bloodlines.
Stefanskians, is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
Stefanskians?
Yeah.
I can't say it. You know what I'm trying to say, right?
Is this the they done on and all that, the original bloodlines prior to the Great Catastrophe?
I believe that is tied in, it goes up into Russia and but it's Ireland. It's Egypt to Ireland.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Would you agree?
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes.
So
that's
we're so special.
I'm gonna have some kind of connection with.
Oh, of course you do, because you're Irish.
That's why I said you're playing
right?
Gorbachev in some timeline right now.
Oh, Gorbachev. Okay.
I have. If I do that, no, that just looks stupid.
There you go.
No.
How about some makeup, Miles? Go get a compact.
I've probably been walking around like this for about a week. I've only a couple of days. I really hit its. Anyway, the point about that is that was why I think I was posted in Ireland or put there, and to do stuff to wake them up. And
because you're special, Miles.
Went on there.
You're special.
And I was really disappointed with an awful lot of the people that I did a lot of work with in the radio business, because they were light
join the club.
Free. They were really positive and creative. And then something was done around about 1992 to really fuck all that over.
Here we
But
go.
what
We're going to
shocked me
divert the
is the scale
conversation.
on
But you
how
know what?
the Irish have
I want to get
allegedly
to where
just
they start to talk
capitulated to
about
all this
Sarah and how she accuses Sarah of Sarah and James Rink for being responsible for the rape allegations on Miles Johnston. That's a nice little twist. And you know what? I'm not a fan of Sarah's, but I don't buy this narrative for one bit. It's like everybody wants to. I can point things and show documentation of what Sarah's done to me. All right. I have proof of what's happened, but it seems like now the thing is to make Sarah as the ultimate powerful scapegoat, or make her like she's. I don't think Sarah has all this kind of power, not this kind of power. You know what? I think Miles got himself into his own situation. Like if he was at the bar and he looked like he was a predator with this woman coming on to her buying drinks, stuff like this. You know what I mean? If there's an investigation going on, you can't just call somebody up, like the law enforcement and go, yeah, I think this person did it if they didn't do it. You've got to have some sort of reason. All right. And I don't think Sarah has anything to do with anything that's happening with Miles right now. Just my thoughts, right?
all this garbage. But this afternoon, I got a video from somebody in Belfast on how they really they filled the whole city center, and that's a big deal for people to. That's where they do things when they do things in Northern Ireland. It's outside the city hall, and the place was absolutely packed, and that gives me courage that they are.
Yeah. Did you see Hillary Clinton was used as chancellor, inaugurated into a university in Ireland? Did you see that?
Yes, that was Queen's University.
I'm going to try to skip it up a little bit. See what goes on
400 interlocking crates, which interlock like the teeth on a zip.
Mm-hmm.
And these were about 1.5 meters high and about roughly 2 meters in length.
Okay, let's keep going here.
Shake my head. You know, she's just a liar. So
Okay, here we
anything
go.
that they try to build with her is not going to work.
Right.
She's just a liar, and it's sad. She's had.
Go back. It's going to happen around here.
I swear. I mean, Sarah stood on my stage that summer, 2016.
Yeah, let's go back a little bit more.
Described in great detail the process. Max in it. And that was around.
Okay. A little bit further back.
A guy called John, a very sensitive man, who was the man who, blew the place up after they got over 400 interlocking crates of sentient oil out of that base. The British brought a submarine, a cargo ship, and 2 sort of cruisers. And they pounded the base with shells, blew the living shit out of the place. But not before they brought this stuff out. 400 interlocking crates, which interlock like the teeth on a zip.
I want to get the full part about Sarah.
1.5 meters high and about roughly 2 meters in length, all interlocking, and that was all taken on a cargo ship. And then his job after all that was taken, it was also at minus 20 degrees Celsius in a blue ice. There's a kind of living ice in Antarctica, and it has certain properties, and my understanding is that
who cares right now
was the reason for so that was all taken to this country, and that's where the sentient oil has been. They tried weaponizing it after the Falklands War, and a lot of those scientists in the civilian side and the military side all killed themselves. Anybody working with that.
Okay.
And that's really where the story on that runs cold. But I was allowed to mention that on a TV show, which we recorded here in 2015, which is repeated about once every 4 or 5 weeks on the TV here. And it's all about the great UFO conspiracy. And I was actually filmed on the River Thames, in low tide, underneath.
I went back too far.
Intelligence Service, or the MI6 building in London. It's been on James Bond. And I was recorded there, and I was allowed to talk about the sentient fluid and the black goo. And that show had Max in it. And that was around about the summer of 2015. And of course, very soon after that, we went to Poland and the whole thing fell apart there. And ultimately, he died.
Did you?
It wasn't
have you
very
had any-
soon after that, because it was at least another year before he went to
Have you
Poland.
had any further recent interactions with Max, to your knowledge?
No.
Interactions with Max. All right. What does that mean? He's still alive? What does that mean here? What is the connotation here? Oh, from the astral? Like, what's going on?
Sometimes would have a feeling, but my understanding is that he was brought when he went over to the other side. He knew what he was going to face when he came back. He died once already. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
He died, and then
you said he made it very clear he was hard to kill. He would come back, like regenerate. And
then they got him bouncing on the trampoline, and that's when they were offering him up for sale. They were trying to reprogram him, and I swear.
How does he know that?
Sarah,
how does he know that? He's just saying. How does he know that they were trying to reprogram him? What is he talking to intelligence or something? Where's his source for that information?
Sarah stood on my stage that summer, 2016, and she described in great detail the process used to take Max out. And then there were a number of attempts on me after that, because there was a temple of Set in.
And we should believe Sarah for sure, right? I mean, she always tells the truth.
California tried bumping me off and so forth. But do you remember a Brit called Oliver Marshall? He was around the UFO scene, and he made a very good film called it was his only film, and they murdered him. He told me that they were trying to destroy me, and within he had 3 brain tumors, and the third one got him. So they killed him. Oliver Marshall.
See, I don't feel anything that Sarah gave is very trustworthy. I think Sarah had her own agenda, and James Rink was the one running her.
Right.
And sent her in to infiltrate Max. And Max made it very clear that James Rink was a troll and a shell. And that's important, that Sarah was sent by James Rink to meet Max. So to me, he gave Sarah the benefit of the doubt. Everybody deserves a second chance. Everybody deserves a clean slate.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Okay, so now Sarah is an agent, I guess, sent by Rink, James Rink, to come, I guess, mess with Max. Okay, all right. Where is this? Look at her eyes. Do you believe that? Do you believe her eyes? Do you think she's authentic? I'm even having issues with just watching her speak and seeing what, like, it's just something's off for me with her.
She abused that horribly, and she took advantage.
Somebody walked behind her, right? Who was that?
He, whatever he was struggling with, he still tried always to look out for people he cared for. And
it's almost like a classroom.
He cared for her, and she took advantage of it. And we see that in the letter, perhaps, that she wrote. So yeah, she probably had some legitimate issues with Max and some legitimate issues with Casbolt. But her place in her guilt, she will never accept her place in guilt. She will always make it about squirming to make it everyone else's fault, and never admitting that she is, setting people up and hurting people. And preying on people.
Well, that
she won't admit it. She won't admit she's tied to Podesta. She won't admit that she basically.
Okay, so she's claiming that she's tied to the Podesta family. Is that John? Look at that. Is that an honest face? I don't think so. That's not an honest face. Not for me. That's my take on it. Now, Sarah's connected to, all these people are connected to Podesta. They're connected to things that are Buanon related. All right. I don't think that, now, I think the Podestas are corrupt, but I think that also people on the right are corrupt. I don't think that this is like a party situation. I'm bringing this up because this media likes to go in that slant. She just pushed a button. She pushed a button that people are already in this media in the groove of believing. So now they're gonna like, oh yeah, Sarah's part of them. Yeah, Sarah's part of the Podestas. It makes it more enticing. The story becomes that much bigger for everybody.
Yeah, it's bad. It's all bad. And she lied. She set people up. She used people. I mean, she's a survivor, right?
Yeah.
But there's different kinds of
A
survivors.
survivor with apparently a trust
Well,
fund.
she's now involved with
Independently wealthy. What is she
There are
surviving?
directors there.
What is she surviving? Ageism? What?
I just shake my head. You know, she's just a liar. So anything they try to build with her is not going to work.
But you're telling
She's
the
just a
truth.
liar, and it's sad.
You're honest.
She's had so many chances to just come clean and just be like, you know what? Here's the deal. It was a really messed up time. I was scared. I loved him. You know, I was panicking. He was pulling away. I acted poorly.
Well, he
this.
was actively leaving her. I mean, he said, Miles, don't talk to
No,
Sarah.
no, don't say that. She was his fiance. Come on, Miles. You did the BBC show with them. You let everybody do cover this as her being his fiance. Come on.
Up to Poland, he did a really good job. Max was very shy. He practically could not, when he did the first appearance here, he was absolutely, stage fright and everything. And he talked to a friend of mine, Miriam, who's a tremendous empath and healer. She's a very tall Dutch lady, and I'm helping her do some of her videos. Very, very close friend of mine. And Max absolutely just was, but as soon as he left Sarah and was able to separate from that, he was just on his way. But there was another agent there called Kieran Lee Perrin, who I think sabotaged things there.
You mentioned that.
And he helped paint this house. In fact, he probably helped paint that wall.
Okay, and now he's going to mention pornography. Here we go.
You know, when I moved into here, he was here, and I did videos with him, and he was all matey and all the rest of it. We put a whole night on for him at a conference. And then days or about 2 weeks before that Polish thing, he started writing stuff on the internet, absolutely, wiping me out, saying around black porn sites and dark
that was
web.
Sarah.
That was Kieran, and then Marie Kayali read. Sorry,
it was Sarah.
That was Sarah.
Now it's Sarah.
That was Sarah's involvement. Yeah, Sarah's not. She doesn't.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about the websites here for a second. The websites, I became privy to the websites because a man named Ben Duchesne showed me screenshots of all kinds of websites that were in the backdoor Project Camelot, were in the backdoor of Revolution Radio, okay? And then the backdoor of Miles Johnston. All right, these websites have been talked about before. I've even discussed it on Kevin Moore's show when we both interviewed each other. That's on my channel if you want to look at it and do research. I don't think Sarah has one bit of involvement in this. And it's not Sarah. So for, even more to sit there and blame everything on Sarah, to me, this is just like, it's a red herring. They're they're just throwing distractions out from everybody because her husband has been, shown in September on In Pursuit as a fugitive for molesting an 11-year-old. All right. That's what's really taking place. And once I get through this little part here, I'm going to skip to the end and show you exactly what she says in retaliation, in defense of her husband, Bill Brockbrader.
Yeah, James Rink is the one that got a hold of Kaz Bolt's handler codes, and I think he got stuff from Preston Nichols. So he was involved with pitting Kaz Bolt against Haley. He was involved with Sarah and Max like issues.
Oh yeah, Rink is the mastermind for all of this. Yeah, we really believe this, Eva. Okay.
Rink is the little troll handler with all the little troll
Wow.
pinning people and spinning them out.
Well, it's
Rink.
interesting that when he did this documentary, which I complimented him about Nazara, and he re-released it, Nazara, and he did a whole lot of very detailed stuff on Francis Bacon.
Oh, here we go.
At the start of that documentary,
Ugh.
and then leading on to Saint Germain, which he claims
Saint Germain
channels. Now, I've been doing videoing the lecture here in England.
Let's take the conversation someplace else now.
And they're very, very nice. They're very nice people, and they're very gentle.
Okay, so that's kind of the gist there. All right.
Details of the coding.
And let's go to
Shakespeare, otherwise known as Shakespeare, on the whole.
What about right here?
There you go. I think this is very exciting.
Well, that seems like a.
Who knows? You know who else is really into the UFO community is George St. Pierre, who's another UFC fighter from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. George St. Pierre. You never heard of him?
No, I don't follow it at
That's
all.
Okay.
This is all complete.
These are
okay, so she mentions him because she's a Canadian citizen, right? So is she in Canada right now, or is she in the United States? Is Bill Brockbrader with her? Does Miles Johnston know if Bill Brockbrader is with her?
You might as well start quoting. You might as well start quoting golfers or football players. 21 years of Sky Sports.
No, this is like it ties into the Jiu-Jitsu network.
Okay.
Krav Maga, Jiu-Jitsu. You know,
could you type those names out on the text thing? Just on this,
I will.
Just get their spelling right. Okay.
I will send you links of their stuff. And this is where we're going. And I think you're going to love it.
Well, as I had said, I saw today Belfast City Centre packed with people talking freedom, and that encourages me that they're not all a bunch of drones. That they are waking up. They are.
Yeah, and see, this is where Connor is, and he's interacting with the local government. So he's somebody definitely that you should potentially look at having an interview with.
Now, I have to say that I was getting on very well with the Northern Ireland UFO people. There's a wonderful woman called Yvonne McConnell, I think, and we were chatting really, and I wanted two of them to submit something for my little summer conference we had, which were the first time we got a conference with living people out of lockdown. So somebody's earwigged on them, and they won't answer anything. I am absolutely, I am not welcome in Northern Ireland.
It's Rink.
On almost any.
It's Rink. It's James Rink again. He's not welcome in Ireland because of James Rink.
Yeah.
Right.
It's Rink and Sarah.
Oh, it's Rink and Sarah. It's Sarah and Rink.
Ah, I'm telling you.
Right. Okay. I'm not buying it. Right. Okay.
I even sent stuff to the museum on the Ulster Folk and Transport Museum, and I gave them my archive of a lot of the radio stuff that we did in the 80s. And I got on reasonably well with them, but now they won't reply to an email and they just maybe somebody said nasty things about me. Shocking.
Well, I talked to a lovely lady last night named Penny Shepherd. Are you familiar with Penny Shepherd?
Here we go.
I might be.
Here we go.
Not too familiar.
And she mentioned you, and she mentioned that she'd reconnected with Carrie Cassidy. So Penny's in Florida, and she's doing a very amazing amount of work with Megan Walsh. I don't know if you've been following this, but John Walsh is the guy in the United States that had his son decapitated. And they created a legal precedent called the Adam Walsh Act. Well, that was a ritual, right? It was a satanic ritual that was created to push legal task through. And Megan is the daughter under the son that died. So the son was the firstborn, and then Megan, and she's exposing her parents. So Penny is being wonderful in doing a lot of the research into the fact that John Walsh, Megan's father, was basically being run by cartels, and it ties into the Panama Papers and the MXIV and the shell corporations in Vegas, and that he's just a shill and he's a gatekeeper. And all the people
Hold
that
on
are
for just a
actually
second. I'm going to have to take this phone call. Hello? Hello?
Hi, can I speak with Terry, please?
This is Terry.
Hi, Terry. My name is Virginia. I'm calling with the Financial Aid Office at Fresno City College.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Hi. So the reason I did listen to your message.
Sorry, you guys. That was a call I had to pick up for a moment. Okay, so that's a rude an interruption at a very interesting point of this. Okay, so she is what she's. I'm going to go back a little bit to just repeat it. But what she is saying is she's now talking about John Walsh, the American TV host and criminal investigator that has the show In Pursuit that featured her husband as a fugitive, okay, who has not registered as a sex offender. So they are right now actively looking for him. Her story is that John Walsh, that her husband has been investigating them. This woman, Penny Shepard, has the scoop, right? And working with John Walsh's daughter, who is the younger sibling of Adam Walsh, who was murdered. And this is a big story that they're coming out with. All right. This is what she is saying. All right. I'm going to go back again to it. Let's just go back a little tiny bit and continue.
Penny's in Florida, and she's doing a very amazing amount of work with Megan Walsh. I don't know if you've been following this, but John Walsh is the guy in the United States that had his son decapitated. And they created a legal precedent called the Adam Walsh Act. Well, that was a ritual, right? It was a satanic ritual that was created to push legal task through. And Megan is the daughter.
Okay, to push a legal task of an amendment that protects children. Okay.
So the son was the firstborn, and then Megan, and she's exposing her parents. So Penny is being wonderful in doing a lot of the research into the fact that John Walsh, Megan's father, was basically being run by cartels, and it ties into the Panama Papers and the MXIVM accounts, the shell corporations in Vegas, and that he's just a shill and he's a gatekeeper, and all the people that are actually trying to stand up to help kids are the ones being, you know, harmed by people like John Walsh. And John took her kids, and so I've been trying to get the word out that this is huge. This is a huge crack in the dam.
But that's another thing about Northern Ireland. And
okay, and you know what? To me, it looks like he edited something out. I'm gonna go back. I don't know. I guess I clicked on the closed caption. Want to change your caption setting? You know what? I'm gonna let it go because it's kind of interesting to watch the words. All right, so let's go back one more time.
And he's a gatekeeper, and all the people that are actually trying to stand up to help kids are the ones being, you know, harmed by people like John Walsh. And John took her kids, and so I've been trying to get the word out that this is huge. This is a huge crack in the dam.
But that's
see, that's a weird cut. That's a cut. He cut something out. All right. That's pretty much it. I mean, like right now, that pretty much covers everything. I guess I lost a lot of people there on the broadcast. Oh no, there's 11 of you. I didn't see it right. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the description. I recommend you guys actually, maybe document this. I'm wondering if it's even going to stay up online. And that's why I wanted to do this. This is part one. I'm kind of running out of power here. And, I really, I'm kind of pushing to do this show because of, so I'm going to put this in the chat. Here's the actual video. There's another video that I want you guys, well, how much time do I have left? I got 46 minutes left. All right, let's go a little farther because I want to bring this home to you guys. There's another guy named Don Shipley who was contacted by In Pursuit, and here it is. I'm gonna come on. Give me my library. Oh, here it is. All right. So where's that video? Retired Navy SEAL Army Ranger Jennifer. This is it. Okay. I'm going to let him talk about his research on this. I've shown him before, but I'm going to show him again. And this is Don Shipley, and he's you're going to hear from the victim. You're going to hear exactly what happened. All right, let's play this for a second. Okay. He talks about the murder of John Walsh. Let's go back a little farther. Oh, wait, I don't have it shared. Shit. Let me go back. Damn it. Let me stop it. I'm going to go back. I know this is going to be a long mess up video here. Let me do this again. Sorry, guys. I wasn't paying attention. I'm going to go back and show you this. Hold on. Let's do it again.
And not see mine come up. And that's why they contacted me. This has gone on for over a decade of a match.
Can you guys hear it okay?
And I was really quite flattered by that. For anybody that doesn't know who John Walsh is, John Walsh's son, Adam, was kidnapped from a shopping mall in Florida and brutally murdered in 1981. And John became an advocate for children. Built the Missing and Exploited Children's Center in D.C., started America's Most Wanted. They've captured over 1,000 guys. And he started this new thing, In Pursuit. And they contacted me. And I traveled to Florida to be a part of that show. The show airs tonight. So a little technical difficulty here. But what I want to do is take you guys through how all this came to be. Familiarize people who don't know who Bill Brockbrader really is or what he did to land on John Walsh's TV show. So.
Okay, maybe this is not, maybe it's not. Okay, I'm just going to
TV show.
check again. I'm trying. Like somebody said, oh, you could hear it. Okay, good. All right. Well, hey, all right. I'm just messing it up here. Okay, here we go again. Let's go. Let's do this. Oh, damn it. Hey, hello. Hi, everybody. All right, here we go. One more time.
That I've become quite close with. I am the Bill Brockbrader library of everything. And I turned everything I had over to him, and he helped me, and we would mind melt where Bill could be. Bill, just for you guys to know exactly what I have here. Let me see if that is. That is the court-martial transcripts for Bill Brockbrader. And it is lengthy. And I have every single page of this. I know what he did. And it's what we've been saying all along. He's a child rapist. And I'm going to try to get her back on the phone. This is Bill Brockbrader's worst nightmare. I'm going to show you a video that Bill did a little bit later where he threatens this girl. Do you have time to talk?
I do, yeah. I was just catching up on your live stream here. So.
Oh, well, I didn't hit a button I was supposed to. So I'm glad you're here. I'm going to take people through and watch this show tonight. But this is Jana Lynn. And yeah, hi, everyone. And this is when Jana Lynn was 11 years old. And that's when it all happened. Correct? Now, we don't need to go all through any of this stuff because Jana Lynn and myself did 80 minutes worth of interviews that are up there. But I think she's just as excited tonight as I am to see this hopefully come to a conclusion and me to take a few swings at some people, some conspiracy theorists that were out there that you were watching all this unfold with Bill, all these interviews and his rise to fame.
It was his own son.
Can you speak up just a little bit, Jane?
Yeah, sorry, I haven't been feeling very well today. It was his own son, Braden, that had stumbled upon these YouTube videos and came to our family and said, "Hey, he's out there doing this, and he's saying some really horrible and inaccurate things. Like he's trying to say that Aunt Winnie doesn't exist." And
All right. You guys are asking me like Pickles asked Mr. Pickles asked if who this dude is. This is Don Shipley. He has a channel. Let me see. What is it? What does he call it? Budsman. Former Buds 131. He's a retired Navy SEAL, and his whole channel is about busting fake Navy SEAL people. So he has been researching Bill Brockbrader, and John Walsh from In Pursuit contacted him because of his research on him, because they are in pursuit of him. He's a fugitive on the run for not registering as a sex offender.
And he was forced to plead like this, and so that began everything on that end, and just continued to kind of progress from there. And I didn't get involved in any of it because it was really hurtful. It's like I've said before 1,000 times. It's one thing to invalidate someone's experience and trauma, but to invalidate their whole existence, that's really heavy, just so you can make a buck. So that really brought up a lot of old demons. I was dealing with another tumor at that time, and and it threw me back into therapy, and I wanted to many, many times speak out and say, this guy is a complete liar. I am here. He did do these things, but I didn't have that within me, and that's where I was always very thankful toward you, because you were that voice for me. You spoke when I couldn't, and you told people, no, he really did do these things. Like we've said before, your main focus on him in the beginning definitely was for the stolen valor, but even then, you never let people forget that he still hurt this girl, that he still did these terrible things to this person, and that it's still victimizing this person by going on there and saying it never happened, to then change your story to make it sound like I was some 15-year-old Lolita needing sexual guidance from him, and you made something that was already so disgusting even more so disgusting, for nobody's benefit but your own.
Well, there you go. We, Janelyn and I connected after the filming of the show, and oh boy, did we have a good time picking all this apart together. I know you don't feel well. Janet couldn't make it to Florida, but I appreciate you stopping in and just saying a couple of words. It's going to mean a lot when I get into all of them.
People will be able to see me on the show tonight, and I am excited to see how they put it all together, because there's a lot. I mean, you figure I was 11 years old, and I just turned 40 a few days ago, so I've been going on for quite a long time. There's a lot of information to cover. There's a lot of people that have been hurt, and so how they're going to wrap it down into about 22-ish minutes will be very interesting. But I do encourage everybody to tune in, watch. If you know anything, call the line. Let's get this guy. It's time to finally put an end to this.
Okay. Well, thank you for stopping in. I hope you feel better.
For sure. And thank you. all of this, and I'm like, there's no debt, like the debt of gratitude I have for you is immense. So,
I'm seeing stuff about Wano Saban. I don't know anything about him being connected to Wano Saban. All I know is that
speaks for you.
Don Shipley is bust people who are fake Navy SEALs. I don't think he has any association to Buanon at all.
American hero. So
Thank you. We'll talk soon. I'll see you after the show tonight or something.
yes, definitely. Take care.
Bye. I'm going to show you a series of videos up here that Bill Brockbrader did before he went into hiding, where he threatens her. If she hasn't been through enough, that's her at 11. Intercourse, full on rape. It wasn't just petting and touching. It was full on rape. And this is Janelyn when she is 12. And you can see this is from the court-martial transcripts. And there she is today. But in the videos, Bill threatens her. I'm going to release this day. If you come out, go mind your own business. The worst thing that could happen to Bill is for her and I to have connected. And who I'm ripping into tonight are all the other conspiracy theorists, and the list is long, who defended Bill Brockbrader, who made a buck off of that guy, who dismissed all this when I was telling him he's a dishonorably discharged pedophile. And this is Bill's actual DD-214. This isn't the redacted one. You see that little word dishonorable down there? Misconduct. And that is Bill Brockbrader's thing, discharged as an E1 out of the brig at Miramar, California. Now, the Social Security number is blacked out. His home address is all blacked out because that was posted on the internet by his girlfriend, wife, Ava Moore. And I'll get all into that stuff, but boy,
Isn't that interesting?
Boy, do I have it, and so do the marshals right now. We're going to find him tonight. So that marshal is really you'll see him on there. I got to spend quite a bit of time with him in Florida while the show was being filmed. And he's quite some, oh boy, he is on Bill. So the only time me and him had any kind of little things back and forth was where we thought Bill might have been, because Bill has a huge mouth. And Bill is a bad poker player. Bill can't tell any kind of story without lying about it. But Bill talks too much. He's got a big ego. He thinks he's smarter than everybody else, but he left more clues behind of his whereabouts, and I'll get into them. But Janelyn and I, on my video website, videos.extremesealexperience.com, you can search Don Shipley videos. We did over 80 minutes of video from the whole time. She was very candid about how all this came out. And Bill has told the story too. He didn't tell it like she does. And it's not hard to believe who's telling the truth in that. And I was quite flattered as well that Janelyn would have said that afterwards. She knew I was out there. She knew I was out there doing it. I always wanted to reach out to her. I knew where she was, but I never did until we heard that when the show was concluded, that she wants to talk to you. The rest is history. So how did we get to this point? How did all this come about? How all this came about was a YouTube channel called Project Camelot, a website on the internet with a YouTube channel called Project Camelot. And it's run by a gal named Carrie Cassidy, who has since been booted off of YouTube. Yeah, I know. Who's since been booted off of YouTube for coronavirus conspiracy stuff that she was posting. She's not a conspiracy theorist. Now, I don't have a problem with conspiracy theorists. I think they keep people in check, and the government and all that other stuff. If you can keep it in check with what you're doing and make sense of it, and just not automatically believe anything anybody tells you is a conspiracy theory. The thing about Carrie and her conspiracy theory channel and the work that she does is she doesn't even believe that crap. She just knows she can make money doing it with those videos. So she did a video called Inside Project Looking Glass, interview with an ex-Navy SEAL. And it was Bill Brockbrader. But he was going by the name Bill Wood. And somebody sent me that video. See, I don't find these guys. People send them.
Okay, so I'm going to stop this here. I wanted to take you into, Miles Johnston's interview with Eva Moore. I also wanted to, just cover this material for you. And I got to, before I leave today, and again, it's great to see you guys here, and it's fun to live stream again. I missed being on my channel, so I'm back. If you do want to support my work or my research or anything that I do here, my podcast that I have on Anchor, that I'm going to start back up again. I had a big pause because my final courses were really, really challenging, but I did well. I got through them. I have a PayPal account. It's Hollywood Hemptress, HEMPTRESS @gmail.com. If you want to give me a one-time donation. I'm also at Venmo at Terry-Joyce, JOYCE. I'm on Venmo too. I do enjoy you guys being here and just your support that way, and even listening to the material that I'm presenting to you. So I just wanted to show you what Eva Moore said as of recent, after the In Pursuit TV show was ran, and her defense of her husband. Her defense is that her husband is a victim because he's doing special investigation on John Walsh, because apparently he's murdered his own son. Her husband isn't guilty for doing what he did to the 11-year-old babysitter that was his ex-wife's sister. You know what bothers me about this particular media is that it sits around and points fingers and creates conspiracies, oftentimes right-wing conspiracies that have been part of an act of, in the United States, I'm avoiding the word, booing on. They go with that. You've got, Simon Parks out there doing it. They're all part of it. They're all making money off of it. What was it recently? Was it that Carrie Cassidy believes that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is still alive, right? Or John F. Kennedy. I'm sorry. John F. Kennedy Jr. is still alive, right? That conspiracy, when does it stop for these guys? And then, when I presented this material, I've sent this to a few friends of mine that follow this online, that follow this material. And, it's like you guys want to make up excuses. Oh, well, they do that to people that are in the secret space, all these projects and the looking glass and this and that, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I'm going to call you guys out for having cognitive dissonance on this particular material because you want to believe these people still. I can't convince you of what might be really going on, but I think that it's worthy of looking at the material, being objective about it, and considering that maybe these people aren't such great guys. Maybe they got some really awful things in their closet and they're not treating women well. They're not doing the right thing. They're not working with integrity. They're not working with truth. And they're sitting around doing a bunch of disinfo and they're making money off of it. I'm not here to argue with you about whether or not UFOs exist or whether or not, like there isn't any type of secret programs or any type of remote viewing going on or any type of special type of military that involves psychic abilities. I think that that's very much true. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had a movie that we saw called The Men Who Stare at Goats. There is a history to this, but I don't think it's coming from these guys. And it's very hypocritical for them to point fingers and call everybody else a pedophile when they're the pedophile themselves. Like, we got to look in our own backyard and think about it before we sit around and believe in these people. I'm really annoyed by the dissonance, the cognitive dissonance that I've experienced on social media. And I'm just going to say that about this. All right. This is how I feel about it. I think Bill Brockbrader is probably guilty. And it's very disgusting to see Miles Johnston have his wife be on the show, be on his show and tell this and make up a story that somebody else who's a public figure is guilty of a satanic ritual of his own son in order to make our viewers, our community, believe her husband's still innocent. There's too much crap underneath the covers in this community. There's too much crap underneath the covers with Revolution Radio. There's too much crap underneath the covers with Miles Johnston. And I'm going to say what I think. That's what I think. And that's why I'm here today showing what I'm showing you. So anyways, I'm going to go now. Have a wonderful rest of your day. All right. And thanks for listening. Copy it, Terry. Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm showing what I can. I'm showing the highlights. I don't want to do the whole show, but if you guys want to make copies, that's up to you, right? If you want to archive Miles Johnston's show, then I would definitely save it because I personally I don't think it's going to stay up on the air. Bye, Jeff. All right, bye, you guys.